We keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. He's the one. He's the only. Paul Chivari. And Paulie, we've had a lot of serious talks over the last few weeks here on the Sports Cubicle. We've had a lot of serious conversations on and off the field about things in the sports world. And now that pitchers and catchers and all positional players have reported, now that games are being played and spring is upon us and baseball has arrived, we're going to have a lot of serious conversations about the Chicago White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf, the stadium, if there will be a new stadium, him talking about a new buyer is going to move the team. The Cubs, whether they'll sign Cody Bellinger, whether they'll be investing into free agents, what's going to happen with Scott Boras. But Paul, I want to talk about seeing men's penises and testicles through their baseball pants in these new jerseys and uniforms that has taken storms on Instagram. It is trending worldwide. Baseball Media Day. And the embarrassing photos taken by these poor men. And not just the obvious crude humor that we've all seen of private parts, but you could see logos through tucked-in shirts. You can see them talking about the comfortability on playing the field. They're talking about their swings being affected by it. Did you think that in a season where Shohei Ohtani was going to become a Dodger and there's so much unrest in these different cities and all these crazy talks about the media deal and the CBA that comes out in 3 years, that the number one trend in baseball conversation right now is the damn uniforms by Nike and Fanatics, and you were on this a long time ago talking about this bad marriage.
Trash.
Yeah, so
because somewhere along the way, it didn't even become about wearing a sports uniform. It became about trying to defy science and make it fashionable. And nowhere I knew we're so postmodern on this. I knew that we were completely reaching our peak the second, as a play-by-play broadcaster, when you look at the numbers on the field and they're the same color as the uniform, so you can't see the number. So what's the purpose of even having the number on there if the broadcaster can't identify who it is, or the spotter, or whoever's in charge of actually knowing who the numbered guy is? So once we've reached that, I knew that it wasn't about that. You look at the University of Oregon football team for the last 15 years. They trotted out uniforms where they're wearing all gray and
the highlighters.
Yeah, the highlighter. It's all the different color coordinations and uniform schemes that they've done over the years. That it's gosh, this school looked their best when it was just a plain green jersey and yellow pants. So Nike is all about fashion, but it's all about that sleek. The design, the science that goes into the moisture wicking and breathability and it's not, it won't shrink, but I had heard that the pants aren't custom fit anymore. They used to do that with the players. So, you're taking away now the things that worked for so long. No one was ever complaining about this stuff. And now, Nike gets the rights to it away from Majestic, who was doing great with the uniform, and the uniform looks dumber and isn't even working, and everyone's complaining. But I want to couple that with New Era, who had done the hats the whole time. They changed up the cap a few years ago. Now it's more dome-shaped and kind of the same idea, and it doesn't look right. It looks kind of like I don't know, like a dunce cap, or I don't know. It's really weird how we live in this society where we have great technology and great design and fashion sense. I think we're always improving on that, so we're not looking as corny for our times all the time. But I think there's times where we get it totally wrong, and here we are. And I guess if Major League Baseball's biggest problem is uniforms, it's a good problem to have, because it's not like they can't play in them. It's just it's clowny, the whole thing, and it's funny to me because it's this is what you wanted, this is what you signed up for. Well, I didn't want this. This is Nike. Nike does not care about it looking good. Nike just wants it to be stylish.
And look, I think we can live in a world where all things are true, right? On the field, the uniform itself that the players actually wear needs to be of a certain standard, needs to hold up to certain gameplay run-through. I mean, this is a sport that they wore belts, for God's sakes. There has to be an understanding of, what we're actually doing here. This sounds like a big Seinfeld bit, that we're at this point in spring training talking about looking through white pants. I will say that it is cool when leagues do have, these city editions every once in a while, or cool alternatives.
Sure. Some teams are doing a second one now, and there's some cities that haven't done one, and it's awkward when you talk about the relationship to a city. Like, so the White Sox are all South Side, and it's hilarious that they're doing this while they're talking about moving away from the neighborhood. Yeah, I don't know.
I understand. I'm with you, but like I also think like
the Dodgers one cracks me up too, because all it says is what Los Dodgers, and it's like they kick people. They kicked Mexican Americans out of that ravine in order to build that stadium.
Look, I'm not saying that the hypocrisy of sports are just about anything that is in the entertainment realm, but I do think that you have to be able to connect to make your sports grow. Baseball, to give credit to the one dude I never give credit to, and Rob Manfred, was baseball's popularity grew because of the rule changes last year. And it has affected the game in a positive way where there was good word of mouth. And it is such a baseball thing that you can translate that to something into the next season. And like once games start, who knows what's going to happen, how much of this will pay attention. But the idea of like they can't even get dope baseball jerseys right. Yeah. Like they can't even get that part right. And that's what's really intriguing in this entire story is that this is, again, a big corporation signing a big deal and not thinking about the product, not thinking about how it's going to look. We just had this AT&T thing, and it goes into the consumer where there's not enough competition. It's like once Nike's just like bought it all on, we're making jerseys for the NBA and the NFL and now Major League Baseball. Who's the competition?
I mean, here's a weird parallel, but it's like when they started, ESPN gets the rights to baseball, and like in the playoffs, 2020, they had to do like the makeshift playoffs. So they're playing those best of threes in the best of three wild card series.
Yeah.
The White Sox Oakland. I remember they're interviewing the center fielder in the middle
Coach
of the
Marlins.
game.
That series, right?
Yeah, and Ramon Laureano's like dropping F-bombs on live television trying to track down a fly ball, and it's like, well, here you go.
That's what you wanted.
This is it.
And every once in a while you get awesome stuff like we did in the All-Star game, right, with the Toronto pitcher. Like, there is
I'm okay with the All-Star game because there's nothing on the line. A playoff game?
That's where it changes, right. Like, game 99 at Wrigley Field, if you want to talk to Ian Happ with Boo Shambi for half an inning,
maybe.
All right,
maybe every now and then.
Yeah.
And that'd be cool on the local broadcast to see something like that. But on like national implications, something on the line, all eyes on you. I don't know. That's not fair.
I'm willing to give everybody their perspective on this. I'm willing to give them their flowers, and it's not a bad idea one way or the other. Like you saying, like, I don't know about this, but I like this. You're 100% correct. And I think somebody who comes with the good intentions of, but to grow the game, like if we did this, like cool jerseys, just that alone. Like, yeah, you know what? Cooler jerseys would do that. And then you think, oh, well, we'll have access to the players. You're right. That is kind of cool. It's just how you execute it and how you present it. And I think the NFL does a great job about this. I think the NBA does a great job about this. And you're seeing like women's college basketball does a great job about this. Golf is doing this now where it's all about the star. You get into some trouble sometimes when the stars become bigger than the sport itself, but there's such a rarity of who those actual people are. But it's what you said. There's a happy medium and you got to find it. But I just love that with a looming CBA deal coming down the pipeline, so much uncertainty with free agents, so much of the middle class being gone, so much maneuvers and movement going on in this league that they were able to find a way to put themselves in a right position last season, and their answer to this season, whether it was their fault or not, is now jersey talk, when it should be what a lot of these teams...
Yeah, Shohei on the Dodgers, or...
What's going on in Oakland? Yeah. What are the Cubs doing? Are the White Sox really moving? Who's going to win the city of New York? Are the Braves going to go and win 100 games? There are so many great storylines in Major League Baseball. But once again, baseball finds a way to baseball it, and now we're talking about men's groins, but not in the normal baseball sense. It's because we could see them through their new jerseys. Paul, we got more coming up next here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm Mike Mercado. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. We got more coming up next.
I'm calling for an all-wool league next year.